Oh, well, yeah, and they're saying that it's some island nation. Well, it's not the same thing when you got a country that's over 3,000 miles wide. The wonderful main is you can't get there from here. Well, especially if look, you got Tesla out there, all electric vehicle. But here's the problem. Sure, electric vehicles are clean. All electric vehicles are clean. Most of them don't have a very long range. In fact, most of them are, at least in this area, if you're trying to commute, it doesn't have enough range to get you to work and back. And there's not enough plug-in stations, but that's the other rub. Even if you had all these wonderful plug-in stations, we got Tesla plug-in stations along the highway here in New Hampshire. That's all. There's not many New Hampshireites or Massachusetts people that have Teslas because they're just not. I mean, I've seen them running around. They do that. It is a beautiful car, by the way. I've seen a couple of the. I'm not sure which model it is, but I've seen the exact same one about 5 or 6 times here in New England. It's a beautiful car. I'd love to have one just because it looks beautiful. It's a gorgeous vehicle. But the reality of it is, how reliable is it? And once we get past the reliability issue, how are we charging it? Let's face it, the Tesla charging stations on the highway are not solar powered. So are you really saving anything if you're using electricity? I mean, let's face it, internal combustion engines are very clean nowadays. And they're getting more and more efficient. So in many cases, depending on where you live or where you're driving, the air coming out of the tailpipe is actually cleaner than the air going into the intake. So vehicles are very efficient today. But they're using that dreaded fossil fuel. Oh, how terrible. Well, most of our power generating stations are some form of fossil fuel. So, I mean, are you really saving anything by buying a Tesla? Are you saving the planet? No, you're not. And depending on where you live, after you add up the cost of electricity, are you actually saving there? Because you're trading basically your petrol dollars for your electric dollars. So are you getting this? Is the mileage equivalent or better with an electric vehicle and the cost versus there's a whole. You got to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples, and often people do not just to try to make their point seem better and more viable. And my problem is if you have a good point, you don't need to make it seem better by lying about it or misleading people about it. That's my 2 cents on that. Welcome back anyway, folks. You are listening to yours truly, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show. Want to welcome back all you liberty lovers, all you freedom seekers, all you ecclesiastites, all you global freedom seekers that are listening to the program. The number that you can call is toll-free, 603-835-3224. As we continue on into the program. So understand that the IPCC is saying, the global warming plans and policies that have been in place the last 25 years have only most of us poorer and only a very few well-connected politicos and business people wealthy. I told you that, and that's coming directly from the IPCC. From the Washington Examiner, here's something that sort of makes me bristle with anger. Now, at first, I brought you the story, is it last week? how VA officials were refusing to testify before Congress committees. Well, now they finally decided to, I guess, go ahead and appear, but they plead the fifth. They refused to testify. Executives at the Department of Veterans Affairs invoke their Fifth Amendment rights and refuse to answer questions about whether they abused a program that compensates them for taking jobs in other states during a hearing before the House Veterans Affairs Committee. Now, frankly, if you're a government employee and you're called to give record and testimony of your performance, there is no pleading the fifth. So what these people are saying is, oh, well, we probably knowingly broke a number of rules or regulations. So we're not going to incriminate ourselves because of it, because, we know that we did wrong, and, we're just going to plead the fifth because, we have a right not to incriminate ourselves. But no. And I know people are probably going to say, but Rod, it's the Constitution. No. See, here's the thing. You're talking about giving an account for your job performance. You have to nobody gets away with not being able to give an account for their job performance without being fired. I don't understand why we are going through, as bad as the VA is today. Why are we handling these people with kid gloves? Look, here's the deal. You're going to give us an account of your job performance, or you're fired. There is no fifth here. We're not accusing you of criminality, but if you actually did something wrong, you're probably going to get fired. But let me tell you something. If you don't testify, you're fired. That's the way these people need to be handled, not begging and pleading and subpoenaing and giving them a subpoena and then having them ignore the subpoena. And then finally, when they decide to go and appear, that they're going to plead the fifth. Oh, hell no. I'd be the congressman sitting up there saying, look, two choices. Yes, you got two choices. Choose to get fired later, maybe get fired later, or definitely get fired now. Which choice is yours? And if they choose to definitely get fired now, well, then there's something wrong. And most likely there is some criminal shenanigans going on and needs to be a criminal investigation. Diane Rubens and Kimberly Graves, two VA officials cited in a scathing Inspector General report in September, had to be subpoenaed to appear before the committee after refusing to appear to an earlier hearing. But while the subpoena got them in the room, the two declined to answer any questions. Now, Representative Jeff Miller, who chairs the VA committee, said before questioning the witnesses Monday night, requiring these individuals or any individual to appear is not meant to embarrass them. Now, executives at the VA netted $2 million by abusing the relocation program. This is what the VA Inspector General found in a September report. So if that is true, if they enrich themselves with taxpayer dollars at the expense of our vets by abusing a relocation program, well, doesn't sound like it's real criminal, but it is definitely worthy of them being fired. Now, I get it. One of the things that's going to raise a red flag to me is when somebody says, well, I plead the fifth. Because if I were a congressman, I'd be sitting there saying, what? This isn't a criminal investigation. What are you talking about, pleading the fifth? We want to know what you know, how this happened, so we can change it and fix it so it doesn't happen again. What are you talking about? You're pleading the fifth. Are you saying you possibly, potentially committed a crime? I mean, that's the first thing that would come to my mind. And I would reiterate, look, you are in charge of caring for this nation's military veterans. The VA is in shambles. It's in disarray. It's giving poor treatment to most of our vets. And yet, you're abusing a relocation program and pocketing up to $2 million through the whole program. And you don't want to respond? Well, I think it's now time for the FBI to investigate, don't you? I respectfully decline to answer. Plead the fifth, Congressman. There ain't no way in hell I'd allow him to get away with this. No way in heaven, hell, universe, Gaia's world. I don't care what you. No way in Hades or Asgard or Olympia or any other place would I allow them to get away with this. I cover everything. I don't know. Where'd Buddha go? Nirvana? Is that? I don't know. Is that? I don't know where all the heavens are, depending on which religion you are. Well, not Olympia, but Mount Olympus for Greeks and Rome. Is it? Yeah. Where are the Roman gods? So the Roman gods are basically they were basically stolen from the Greek gods. That's still Mount Olympus for Roman gods too. I don't. Mythology. There's so many of them, because Valhalla is Vikings and Odin, and that's Asgard, where they. I think I'm gonna have to watch the Avengers again to find out where Thor is from. Well, Asgard. It's from Asgard. And you can learn stuff from movies put out by Hollywood. Maybe we'll learn stuff about this if somebody makes a movie on it. And wouldn't that be a pip? Hey, go to the movie theater to find out what the inner workings of the VA administration were. Because nobody else wants to talk about it. You have to go into you have to go to a movie. Make a movie. That should do it. Then we'll get to the truth. Maybe we should make what's his name? The fat slobby one. Michael Moore, director and producer and the writer. Doesn't he do it all? Isn't that doesn't he? He's got a new movie coming out, right? I have no idea what it's about. I think I saw something today about Michael Moore has a new film. Either he's working on or it's done, and I don't know. I don't particularly care what the ugly. Hey, make a movie if you want. In any case, these people are saying that the report alleged Rubens had created a less demanding position for herself in Philadelphia, billing the agency for $274,000 in moving expenses and retaining her six-figure salary despite having fewer duties in the $274,000. For doing what? Remember, folks, that's taxpayer money. You're paying her salary. Hey, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong line of work or something, because to do nothing and get away with it and make over $250,000 sounds pretty sweet to me.